I'm going to ask my good friend Noel Henderson, works on a team for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. And Noel is going to give us kind of some background information about what we do through this church and what the Foodgrains Bank does far, far away. Morning, Noel.
Morning, Art.
Welcome. You're wired?
Thank you. I'm wired for sound. Yep, good to go. I got some notes, not to remind me what to say, but rather to keep me on topic. There's an insert in your folder, of course, just to remind you that this is a Canadian Foodgrains Bank church, and we have been since 1996. That was a commitment made by the board at that particular time to institute a program called Beyond the Stained Glass Windows. And that has been a feature. We're about to send off this year's contribution, which is $5,000 to the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. That's approximately just a tad less than 1% of the budget of $540,000 in this church, which means that for every $100 you give to the church, 92 cents goes to Foodgrains. If you would like to increase that component, then you may do so, of course, on your own, either by handing in an envelope which says directly Canadian Foodgrains Bank, or you can give directly to the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. What I'd like to bring to your attention this morning, however, is a campaign that's currently going on called A Harvest of Letters. You've heard of a harvest of grain. This is a more urban idea. The smallholder farmer is a real sort of a conundrum. Most of the world's hungry, not starving, but hungry. Those who live just below the nutritional level to keep you alive comfortably are small farmers. What's a small farm? 2 hectares. How many know what a hectare looks like? Right. Oh, 1. Well, good. That's right. Wellington square property actually is 2 hectares. Or, in the old language before metric, 5 acres. And in that space, Wellington square property, you have to produce enough to feed your family, but also to get an income so you can afford other things, so you can send your children to school, so you can participate and get a flow of goods. Can you imagine doing that? This has become the focus of a total world campaign. And they're determining that with these 75% of the world engaged in small farming, that is the key to alleviating the hunger issue. If only we could make these people productive in their own right, then we'd have better nutrition, then we'd have better health, then we'd have family income, then we could send our kids to school. Tuesday morning, I'm going down to Jarvis to hear Paul Hegeman, who fashioned the policy for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. You're welcome to come. It's free, as is your transportation. However, I recognize that a Tuesday morning is not appropriate for a lot of you. But that's the only meeting in this area. Interestingly enough, the Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates, also think this is a good idea. And they are giving $1.5 million to the Canadian Foodgrains Bank for Paul Hegeman to administrate, to accomplish some progress in this field of how do we improve agriculture among this group of people. Sounds good, eh? Except there's a bit of a road bump. And the road bump is the Canadian government. I want to read you just a sentence from Tony Berman's article in the Toronto Star. The Canadian government, according to an international report released last week, made the biggest monetary cut to foreign aid of any country in 2013. This in spite of the fact that global spending last year on an international development reached a new high. The United Nations has a target of 0.7% of your gross national product. Spain, Sweden, Norway, Italy, the Netherlands all exceed or reach that target of 0.7%. Netherlands and UK are right on. Denmark, Luxembourg, Sweden, and Norway, to name a few, exceed that target and contribute as much as 1%. What do you think the Canadian figure is? Well, with these cuts, we're now down at 0.29. We're not even half of the expected total. It's a wonder that a country like the Netherlands or Denmark or Sweden or Norway can do twice as well as us. Well, could we bring this to the attention of the government? Maybe. That's the purpose of Harvest of Letters. So in this campaign, what we're prepared to do is to give each of you a folder. Inside are all the addresses that you require. Inside is also a model letter. It gives you some ideas. There's nothing like a handwritten document. You can email if you like, but I know what happens to the emails at my house. Handwritten letters are significant. This is the campaign that we hope will at least create in government officials some idea that we are concerned about the cuts and that we'd like to have them restored. So, we have a table outside. Diane Zuber, maybe, okay. And Bev, okay, good. And I will be there. And we have 150 of these if you're really excited about the prospect. And we'd like you, if you're willing, to participate.
Okay.
Will you step up?
So Noel's going to share that also at 11, and he and Diane and Deb will be at the table. I've had a chance to read all of this because Noel and I met earlier in the week. This is good stuff, and our church is rightly involved in this work, both the financial side and also, I hope, the letter writing side. So thanks to Noel. He's go getting the table ready.